Think this season's already set in stone? Think the Bears are just gonna sneak into the playoffs without making any noise? You couldn't be more wrong. Because what's going down at Hollis Hall right now has the whole organization on high alert. We've got a quarterback chasing history, veteran players fighting for their future in Chicago, and a defense that just showed its worst side at the worst possible time. And let me tell you something else: what happens this Sunday against Detroit isn't just about playoff seeding. It's about finding out who's really built for this fight and who's gonna get left behind. Wow. Some folks are out here celebrating what we've done so far. I'm seeing cracks that could cost us everything come January. Stick around, because we're breaking down every single detail of what's truly on the line for the Bears in this make or break week. Let me be straight with you. Caleb Williams is just 170 yards away from doing something nitrogen monoxide quarterback in Chicago Bears history has ever done. 4,000 passing yards in a single season. You realize what that means? We're talking about a franchise that's been around since 1920. 100 years of history. Sid Luckman, Jim McMahon, Jay Cutler, none of them did it. And this kid, this 23-year-old rookie, is about to shatter that glass ceiling this Sunday. But here's what's really got me thinking: why now? Why with Williams? I'll tell you why. Because we finally have someone in that front office who gets how to develop a modern quarterback. Ben Johnson didn't come to Chicago to play it safe. He came to break the mold. And what we're seeing with Caleb is the direct result of that mindset. Look at his December numbers. The kid's completing 68% of his passes, 9 touchdowns to just 2 picks, and he's averaging nearly 300 yards a game. That's not luck. That's growth. That's a quarterback who finally has the tools and the system to unlock his full potential. And you know what's wild? There are still people out there doubting him. Still voices saying he's not the guy. I mean, what else does this kid have to do? Win the Super Bowl in year 1? Let me remind you, Patrick Mahomes didn't even do that. But here's the part that worries me. Williams needs the 170 yards against a Detroit defense that, even if they're not going full throttle since they've already clinched, still has one of the best secondaries in the league. The Lions have Brian Branch and Kirby Joseph back there, 2 dudes who live for interceptions, and if Caleb starts forcing throws just to chase that record, it could backfire big time. I think Johnson's got to find the perfect balance. Let Caleb play his game. Take his shots when they're there, but don't risk the team's chemistry just to hit a number. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if he finishes with 3,900 or 4,100 yards. What matters is that this team hits the playoffs with confidence, momentum, and a quarterback playing the best ball of his life. But do I think Caleb's gonna hit that 4,000 mark? I'll say this: if anyone can do it under pressure, it's him. We've seen this kid step up in the toughest moments all season. Against Minnesota when everyone counted him out. Against Green Bay when we desperately needed a win, he showed up. And I believe he's gonna come out Sunday with that killer mindset he's known for. And think about what this would mean for the franchise. We wouldn't just be breaking a record, we'd be sending a message to the entire league. Chicago's not that team that leans on defense and a conservative run game anymore. We're a team that can win through the air, that has an elite quarterback, and that's ready to go toe-to-toe with anyone in this conference. And speaking of competing, can you imagine heading into the playoffs with that record freshly broken? The confidence it would give Caleb, the respect we'd earn from our rivals, the fear we'd put in the eyes of any team that has to face us in January. That's priceless. But if that shocks you, wait till you hear this, because what's coming next is even more concerning for this team's future. Now let's talk about something that's really got me worried. Tremaine Edmunds, our starting linebacker, the guy we signed to a massive deal to be the heart of this defense, just had one of the worst games of his career against San Francisco. And I'm not exaggerating, it was brutal. 7 catches allowed, 55 yards, 2 touchdowns. You realize how unacceptable that is for a middle linebacker making over $17 million a year. I mean, is that what we expect from a Pro Bowl level player? And here's what really ticks me off. Edmunds played 99% of the defensive snaps that day. 99%. That means Matt Eberflus and this staff didn't trust anyone else to step in, not even to give him a breather. And the result? A disaster. Now, to be fair, Edmunds has been dealing with a groin injury that clearly isn't fully healed. You could see it in his movement, his burst, his ability to cover ground. Before that injury, this dude was a beast. He was everywhere, making tackles, covering tight ends, running the defense like a general. But since he came back, he hasn't been the same guy. And you know what's most concerning? We're 1 week away from the playoffs, and we still don't know if Edmonds is going to be healthy or not. Because if he plays like he did against the Niners, we're toast. Elite teams in this league attack weaknesses, and right now, Edmonds is a huge liability in coverage. I'm telling you, Ryan Poles has to be watching that film and wondering if he made a mistake with that contract. $17 million is a lot for a linebacker in today's NFL, especially when that linebacker's getting picked apart in coverage week after week. And with the cap space, we're gonna need to extend other key players. That number is starting to look like a problem, but here's where it gets tricky. If we cut or trade Edmonds after this season, we're basically admitting we messed up, that we burned valuable resources on a guy who couldn't stay healthy or live up to expectations. And that's not just bad for Poles' image, it's bad for the team culture. So what do? I think Edmonds has to prove this Sunday against Detroit that he's still that elite player we signed. He's got to show up and dominate. He's got to close gaps, make tackles in the backfield, show he can cover David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs when they leak out, because if he doesn't, we're in serious trouble come playoff time. And don't get me wrong, I want Edmonds to succeed. He's a good dude, a pro, a hard worker, but in this business, feelings don't matter. Production does, and right now, the production just isn't there. Also, think about the ripple effect this has on the rest of the defense. When your middle linebacker isn't doing his job, the whole scheme falls apart. Safeties have to overcompensate. Corners get exposed. The D-line can't generate pressure because they're worried about the second-level gaps. It's a domino effect that can wreck an entire defense. And just when you thought we were done, I've got one more story that's going to make you question whether we're truly ready for the playoffs. Nahshon Wright, one of the most unexpected breakout stories of the season, leads the entire NFL in total takeaways. He's made some highlight reel plays. He's brought energy to this defense when we needed it most. But here's the truth nobody wants to admit when it comes to pure coverage. He's a mess against San Francisco. Wright was targeted 7 times, and he gave up 6 catches for 101 yards. 101 yards from one cornerback. You think that's gonna fly in the playoffs? I'm telling you, if we play like that against Philly, Minnesota, or any team with a legit quarterback, we're getting cooked. And here's the bigger issue. Wright has allowed 7 touchdowns in coverage this season. 7. That puts him among the worst corners in the league in that stat. So how do we reconcile that with all the takeaways? How do we justify giving a big contract to a guy who's that inconsistent? I think the answer lies in how we use him. Wright's a gambler. He's a ball hawk. He's gonna take risks. He's gonna go for the big play. And when it works, it's electric. But when it doesn't, it costs us points. And in the playoffs, we can't afford to give away points. Remember the last time we played Detroit? Wright gave up a 44-yard touchdown. 44 yards. That's unacceptable. And if it happens again Sunday, we're gonna have a hard time winning that game. But here's what's really on my mind. What do we do with Wright after this season? His rookie deal's up, and he's gonna want a big raise based on those takeaways. But can we really pay $8 to $10 million a year to a corner who's that shaky in coverage? I'm asking you, would you give Nahshon Wright that kind of contract? Because that's probably what he's gonna ask for based on his turnover numbers. And honestly, I don't know if that's money well spent. Look, I respect what Wright's done this year. He's exceeded expectations. He's given everything to this team. But in the NFL, you've got to be honest about your players' limitations. And Wright's limitation is clear. He can't consistently cover elite receivers. So what's the move? I think we use him smart. Put him in spots where he can be aggressive, where he can go after the ball, but we can't leave him one-on-one with the other team's top wide out. We need to give him help, keep a safety over the top, be strategic with our matchups. And this Sunday against Detroit is the perfect chance for Wright to show he can adjust. Amon-Ra St. Brown is one of the toughest covers in the league. He's quick, technical, has great hands. If Wright can slow him down, make a couple big plays, that could totally change the narrative around his future in Chicago. But if he gets torched again, if he gives up another 100-yard game, then we've got to ask the hard question, can he really be a starting corner on a team with Super Bowl aspiration? Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how many turnovers you create if you're giving up more points than you're saving. Look, these 3 situations we just broke down, they're not random. They're a mirror of exactly where we are as a team right now. We've got Caleb Williams chasing greatness, writing his name into this franchise's history books. We've got Tremaine Edmonds battling his body and trying to live up to that massive contract. And we've got Nahshon Wright standing at a crossroads, hero or liability, depending on which version shows up Sunday. Is Caleb gonna break that 4,000-yard mark and cement his legacy as the future of this franchise? Is Edmonds gonna prove he's still that elite linebacker we signed? Or are we heading into the playoffs with a giant hole in the middle of our defense? And is Wright gonna step up in coverage? Or are we gonna keep getting burned by any QB who knows how to exploit a mismatch? These are the questions that define our season. These are the answers we're gonna get this Sunday against Detroit. And I promise you this, no matter what happens in that game, we'll be right here breaking down every play, every decision, every critical moment, because that's what we do on this channel. We don't run from the truth. We don't sugarcoat it. We give you the real, raw, unfiltered analysis you deserve as true Chicago fans. So here's what I need you to do right now. If you believe Caleb's gonna break that record and lead us to a win over Detroit, drop a comment and tell me how many yards you think he's throwing for. If you're worried about Edmonds and think we need to shake things up on defense, tell me what you do in that spot. And if you think Wright deserves a new deal or if you think it's time to move on, I want to hear your take. Because this isn't just my community, it's OUR community. We're a family of Chicago fans who bleed Navy and Orange, who've suffered together for decades, and who finally have something real to get excited about. But for this to work, for us to keep growing, I need you to commit. Hit that like button right now. Subscribe to the channel and turn on that notification bell. Because tomorrow we've got more exclusive content, more deep dive analysis, more of everything that makes this the best Bears channel on YouTube. And remember, no matter what happens Sunday, whether we win or lose, whether we break records or make mistakes, we'll be here for you. We'll keep bringing you the quality content you deserve. We'll keep being that honest voice that tells it like it is, even when it hurts, because at the end of the day, that's what it means to be a Chicago Bears fan. It means showing up in the good times and the bad. It means believing even when it feels impossible. It means being part of something bigger than ourselves. So bear down, family. I'll see you in the next video. And may the best team win on Sunday, though we all know that team's gonna be Chicago.